Tim McGraw is like one of the last people left that I haven't been able to convince to record one of my songs. So Tim McGraw he's on my hit list now, and I know him, and I text him, and I sent him a batch of songs a while back, and he didn't respond, and I texted him a few days later. I said, "Damn, do I suck that bad?"
Hardy, it's a pleasure catching up with you. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, man. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. It's great. It's great finally getting a chance to have a word with you. So much going on in your life. I don't even know where to start. But I tell you where I will start. You're a relatively new dad, so congratulations first off.
Thank you
And
very much, man.
and secondly, I've got to ask, as a dad of some two lads who are a lot older than your child is, how's it all going?
It's going really great. I've been telling people a lot, but she's like what you call a trap baby because they trap you into thinking you want another one. um,
Ah,
she
okay.
is she's perfect. I mean, we've been so blessed. She just if you read a book on like what a traditional baby does and how they sleep and how they eat and when they cry and blah blah blah, everything is just right to a T. So we're so blessed, and on top of that, she's gorgeous and she's a happy baby. So we've just been truly blessed.
I was going to say, do you know how lucky you are? And people who are going
Yeah,
to be listening and watching this are going, well, that didn't happen for me.
yeah.
So that's fantastic. Well, sometimes in life you get what what you deserve. So there you go. But so many other things going on as well. You got the new EP Country coming out.
Yes,
We
sir.
had a recently a Red Rocks live album as well. Do you want to tell me about the EP first, though?
Yeah, sure, of course. Five songs. I made a little announcement about it, but just between me and my label, I couldn't get the album out in time, the entire album out. And I was like, look, I said last year I had to put a record out in the middle of my tour, and I was like, I don't ever want to do that again. I want to give my fans something before we start touring, just five songs, something, just so that they have something to sing, something new, something to look forward to. So so these songs will be tacked onto an album that is coming later this year, but. I just put my foot down and said this is what I want, and my label is great, so they gave it to me, and yeah, it's five. I like to just say they're Hardy songs, but they're more country songs, and just something a lot of fresh stuff that I haven't said before lyrically, and I'm excited.
As we are too, especially with the idea that another album is coming too in its entirety, and this is almost like a taster, if you like. Um, and the brilliant news for us here in the UK is we're going to get to see you soon, also, so you can play us these songs live. How
Yeah,
exciting is it for you to come over here?
uh, very. It's my first time,
I was going
so
to ask you about that because we've had so many. I mean, you've probably been told by your friends in the business, country is so big here now in the UK. It truly is. And isn't it about time you got here?
yeah, I have had people from all over the UK and really other places in Europe as well, but specifically the UK since like 2019 be like, when are you coming over? When are you coming over? And I believe that I was supposed to go like sometime in the summer over 2020, so that would have been my chance, but it has now been 7 years into my artist career, and yeah, I've had a lot of DMs, a lot of people. I've actually met some people from the UK in the US that were like, we had to come to the US to see you because you won't come to the UK. And I'm like, look, it's nothing personal. It's part of it's just a touring thing, and but I'm so excited, really truly I'm so excited. I've heard only great things, and I'm so excited to finally share my music with you guys. Truly.
And we are equally as excited about that too. So this is brilliant. So your Jim Bob tour all around the UK, and yeah, it's going to be a wonderful experience for all of us, including you. I expect.
I've heard
Um,
that the live show is so that you guys like are just so you pay more attention to like lyrics and things like that, and that is like I'm a songwriter, so like that is a lot of our show is very rock and roll, but there's a lot of great moments I think that are just about the song and what the song means and the lyrics, and so I'm really excited.
Well, we interview a lot of people. Normally, they swing by the studio, and so many US artists have told us exactly that about the UK audience and how it differs from where what you'd be used to. So it'll be interesting catching up with you at some point after you've been here with your Jim Bob tour, and then getting that reaction from you. Then
Yeah,
you
we'll do a
mentioned the.
debrief. We'll do a debriefing for sure.
Well, let's do a debrief and see how you get on. I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing. You mentioned about being, first and foremost, a songwriter, though. And I'm really interested because you've done so much collaborating over the years, whether it's just performing with other artists and or writing with them as well. How does the process start? Is it more you have an idea and message someone, or you sit in a room with someone to begin with? Or does it, depend on the song?
It depends on the song, but typically, a lot of the songs that I have written that other people sing, many of them I did not write with that person. Specifically, though, with like Morgan, most of the stuff I write with Morgan Wallen, we write together, and that's just he and I sitting in a room together with a few other people and just writing a song the traditional way. But no, I mean a lot of the times I'll just write a great song with other songwriters in town. And thankfully, just through being in town a long time, I have a relationship with pretty much everybody. So if it sounds like something that would fit somebody, I'll just send them a text, say, hey, you got 5 minutes to listen to a song, and sometimes that nothing happens, and sometimes it turns into a big hit, and everything in between. So, but really, there's really no correct answer, because sometimes you can send a half written song, and then they write the other half at their house, and then it just comes out on an album. There's a million different scenarios, but more times than not, it's either written with that person or I just send it in a casual text message and they hit me back an hour later.
And I guess the more success you have over the years with collaborations and songwriting with other people, the more times people are going to say yes than like back in the early days, maybe as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to have a little bit of credibility and people just listen to you a little bit more. And it's never a bad thing when somebody like a big successful artist texts you and says, you got any songs? I'm going in the studio. And I'm like, yes, I do. Absolutely. I do. Always.
Well, that's about as good as it gets, isn't it? When they're kind of queuing up for you. Now, you mentioned Morgan specifically, and his new album is coming soon, as we know. And you've had a brilliant track record with him already. But it's just, it must be very gratifying for you as well as a songwriter to just keep, effectively keep getting asked back for more.
Yeah, definitely. I moved to Nashville to be a songwriter. So that part of me, that competitiveness and just that the songwriter grind, if you will never go away. So it always feels good when you still have wins as a songwriter, completely separate from my artist career.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and it's great to have all those things juggling around. So you're never going to just get stuck doing one thing. You've got so many.
Oh yeah.
Is there a particular artist though that you haven't worked with yet that you would like to? Is there anybody that kind of comes to mind?
I, I was thinking about this, and it used to be Kenny Chesney, and I wrote a song for Kenny that went number one last year, and I was so thankful for that. But now I would say Tim McGraw is like one of the last people left that I haven't been able to convince to record one of my songs. So Tim McGraw he's on my hit list now, and I know him, and I text him, and I sent him a batch of songs a while back, and he didn't respond, and I texted him a few days later. I said, "Damn, do I suck that bad?" And he was like, "No, no, no, I'll check him out." But he's just a legend and records only great music, and so I know it's going to have to be a special song, but he's on the hit list.
It's great getting these insights, though, especially from you, for yourself, rather than hearing a third party. Tim, and we did a similar thing years ago with Tim McGraw, funny enough, from his great big mansion, wherever that is, back in the state. And Tim, you're behind the beat here. You need to get in touch with this guy pretty soon and snap up one of his songs, is what I'd say.
Please do.
Am I right in thinking as well? Are you about to do your first ever Opry appearance?
I'm actually on my bus right now in the Opry parking lot. Yes, I'm playing the Opry tonight.
How does that feel? Because we've already discussed you've done so much, you've achieved so much, and you've never got around to playing the Opry before.
Yeah, there's no real reason. They've asked, and every time I've been busy, and I've never really had that relationship with them. I've performed on the Opry stage, but I've never performed the program, the Opry, if that, because it's still a music venue, and they'll have events and things like that. But I just figured I went so long without doing it, and then once I got a few years in and had not played the Opry, I said to myself, well, then how about the first time I play it, it be like a really special thing. And so with me taking a year of into the rock and roll space and being a rock artist, and now coming back and starting to make a little bit more traditional country music, or at least country music as it is. I thought now would be a great time to just sort of reintroduce myself to the format, and so here we are.
Absolutely. Well, listen, have a wonderful time tonight there. I'm sure you will. And can I ask you as well, because I was gonna mention earlier that the different sound that you give us. Do you have a preference, or does it depend on your mood? Like when you're playing the rock music, or more like you say, you're gravitating back towards country now, or are you happy to have the two hats?
I love the two hats, and when it comes to the live stuff, like there are country songs that I love to perform, and there's rock songs I love to perform, and to me they both translate the same. The fans still love them both, and they get the same reactions. Um, so and thankfully a lot of that is blended into the same song. But I at the end of the day, two hats. I love being able to do both, and I owe all of that to my fans for being like, we love them both, and we don't care. We don't care which what comes next, as long as it sounds like Hardy. We love it, and so that's kind of where I live.
Yeah, well, that's great from your point of view to hear all that. Well, we say two hats, but we've just discussed you probably at the moment got about five or six hats with the songwriting and the touring and
Yeah.
the collaborating and so on. Well, listen, let's do that post catch up at some point to find out how Jim Bob Tour UK has gone for you afterwards. But I can't let you go. I know you're a busy man. Before asking this final question, I hear you got bitten by a snake the other day. Is that right?
Oh
If
yeah.
it is, how's your hand?
Oh, it's fine. It's completely healed. I we have a lot of snakes here, and I grew up in the South where there are a lot of snakes, like tons of snakes in the South. And I just, since I was a kid, I've just never really had a fear of snakes. And I can easily identify which ones are dangerous and which ones are not. And if it's not, I usually try to catch it. So probably about the 500th time I've been bitten by a snake. Um, so it just, it hurts for a couple days, and then it goes away, and that's it. But that's good fun.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't one of those horrible, nasty, venomous ones, so you're still here with us. That's good news.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Listen, Hardy, absolute pleasure. Good luck tonight. Good luck with the EP and when the album comes along. And of course, great. Have a brilliant time when you come over to the UK for the first time as well to perform.
Thank you. I'm very, very excited. I really am looking forward to it a lot.